Currently, if you want to fly from New York to London, it will take you 7 hours. Now, hypersonic flights would do this in about 90 minutes or less, and Virgin Galactic is on the forefront to revolutionize how we fly in the future. So welcome to this vlog. First of all, I want to thank you that you are watching my Virgin Galactic videos. They are over the top. They are outperforming every other videos, and I love to talk about this company because this company is so potential. It's unbelievable. Now, the other video that I posted just a couple of days ago got 1,400 likes, and this is unbelievable, guys. I want you to absolutely smash that like button. If you appreciate my work, there's hours and hours of research and you supporting this channel. So let's dive into something first that I want to explain why Virgin Galactic can and will be very successful. Now, if you're looking into companies that are tackling a brand new market or a brand new technology, they are mostly starting on some niche product. And I will give you two examples. The one example is Facebook. When Facebook came to the market, they actually had a couple of other players already on the market that was much bigger. Okay, so we had MySpace, for example, or Friends. So as you see that they actually dived into a very niche market, which was the colleges in the US. So only if you are a student on some colleges in the US, you could enter the Facebook network. And from there, it spread over college until they really spread overall because they had super amazing features. And one of the most unique things about Facebook is that they cracked the code to be authentic and real names. What does it mean? Think about it. If you're looking into the MySpace world or Friendster, whatever the platform called before, they died out because, people could make up some kind of internet persona. They created a type of internet me that then was, totally different, or you could totally be different than you actually are. Now, Facebook did it the other way around. They actually made it mandatory that you put your real name in, and therefore also increased the value per user for their platform. And also you were more, let's say, you when you are registered with your real name, you showing with whom you are around, and then the virus Facebook spread all over the world. By the way, Shamas was one of the great guys at Facebook as well, who actually was responsible also for the huge scale of Facebook worldwide. Now, this is another example. Let's talk about Tesla. When Tesla started with its niche, which was very sexy sport cars, electric sport cars, and they growed from there. Their master plan was actually over the next couple of years, but they started in a very niche. They first wanted to show that electric cars can be good looking, fast, modern, right? And they had to build an infrastructure like the supercharger networks. And as you have seen, this worked very well for Tesla. And starting with this, they could get so much experience and build up the next product and the next product and the next product until they reached really the masses. And I see very similarities to Virgin Galactic. They are saying that, space tourism is something that they want to start with, but Shamas, for example, the chairman of the board, many times said that this is just a stepping stone. The phase 2 will be then the big revolutionizing and disrupting the flight industry or the private flight industry, which we will talk about extensively in this video. Now, as you can see, we are starting with space tourism, but we are expanding to the second phase then, which will be hypersonic flights, and then third stage could be anything, right? We talked about on last Virgin Galactic Fridays that it could be, for example, asteroids mining, which is a $1 trillion industry where Virgin Galactic can expand to. So many possibilities, but let's really address how much of an opportunity hypersonic flights really are. So if we're talking about hypersonic flights, we are talking about time saving in the very preliminary business terms of bringing value. Now, as you might know, currently this is the private jet business or private plane business, because people are having these flights with private airplanes because they save times, and especially those timings are created when they don't have to stay at the airport so long, they don't have to make stops in between destinations, and this kind of airplanes or air routes are mostly on smaller distance destinations. This is, perfect for them. In terms of long-term destinations, there is pretty much not that much of a time saving, because in big airplane or small airplane don't have this big time savings. Now, however, when talking about hypersonic flights, you have to understand also the technical side, which I want to start with. So we are flying with a mile per second, guys. This is something about 3,000 to 3,600 miles per hour, which is absolutely insane. And if you're asking yourself, well, how a body can withstand that? Well, we as humans are actually don't experience speed that much. What we experience is acceleration. So maybe in the car, when you go from 0 to 100, you feel sometimes, if you have a fast car, a Tesla, that you get pushed back, right? But then if you are then driving 200 miles per hour or faster even, then you barely feel the speed. Same with the train. Same with the airplane. So as you can see, the whole experience stays absolutely the same for hypersonic flights. So even with you going into the acceleration mode, it's more a question how smooth the acceleration can be done, and this can be a totally controlled environment. So we are talking more about technical things that need to be solved, like for example heat. So heat actually will apply much more because wind is going against the outside of the airplane and it gets really heated, so you cannot barely get this air into the cabin for supplying the whole passengers with air. You need to cool it down, and as you can see, so there's some challenges that Virgin Galactic need to go over, but this is the reason why they are starting with the space tourism business, which will give them so much new technical knowledge. Moreover, even big airplane manufacturers like Boeing have investment arms, and they did actually, the investment arm of Boeing, a $20 million investment back a few years ago into Virgin Galactic because they see this opportunity out there. But let's talk about more the experience and the addressable market, and therefore I'm putting myself about an article that I found with ARK Invest. They make great research, and the other things that I researched was into the technical parts. So I want to give you an idea what we are talking about. Okay, so in terms of passengers, about 0.4% of all flights were private flights, okay, in 2018, and this is because 77% of those flights were the time savers. 50% or more you have saved if you flew a short-term distance with a private plane, and then you are going into a more detailed analysis, which is the hypersonic addressable market, which is 7 or more hours of flight, because this is not yet disrupted. So this is the perfect market for hypersonic flights. And if you're looking into the 2018 data, you had about 4.5 billion passengers in the air, and 15% of those flew longer than 7 hours. So about 680 million passengers flew on flights longer than 7 hours, and 0.4% of them flew private, which are the people that either can have the money or want to save time, and those are the people that could jump over to hypersonic flights, and those are 2.7 million passengers. Okay, so as you can see, a quite big market if you imagine, what is the price of a ticket, right? But let's talk about the time saving, because based on the economics of short haul market, ARK Invest estimates that passengers would pay up to $100,000 for a flight that usually takes 13 hours and will take only 2 or 3 hours, or even less, right? So you can here have the market of 2.7 million passengers times 100,000, and then you have the market of $270 billion of potential revenue in the whole market. Now, I want to scale back a little bit, because I believe that through the health crisis that we have going on right now, we are more digitalized than we ever were. And therefore, I believe that you can easily put let's say 20% off of that, so will be around the $200 billion market. And then, from this market, if Virgin Galactic could get about 5% of the market, this would be $10 billion, guys. And I believe this is a more realistic number. Moreover, I don't like to dive into those numbers too much, because it's always, how we can get 10% of the market and so on. The most important thing for Virgin Galactic in terms of hypersonic flights will be the experience, the routes, the price, the safety. All of those things are having a much bigger importance than some crazy numbers of the market research and so on, in my personal opinion, okay? I believe if you are putting out a product that people just can't say no to it, then you are on the winner side, and you are building actually a market for yourself. Okay, then we need to talk about, how big is the Virgin Galactic hypersonic market, not the overall, time-saving private plane market. And therefore, I believe that this is the more important part of the story, but definitely exciting. Let's jump into the conclusion. The takeaway of this video should be definitely that you need to understand that space is just the beginning. We are just tapping the opportunities, what is possible in space. And with the space tourism, which will be like a financial gadget for Virgin Galactic to do much bigger things in space, we will see that another space area will come upon us. We will see that not only the space companies, that the wealthiest and the smartest men on the world are striving to get interplanetary, to start with a moon base, start with tourism into space, and make hypersonic flights on Earth possible, because there's so much to gain, not only for humanity, but also on the monetary space. There is so much potential, guys, that you cannot even comprehend this. And I believe that we are in a very good way with Virgin Galactic, starting in this niche of space tourism, which will be absolutely a money maker for the long run and can finance from there. And with the valuation that the company will have then on the stock market, that can issue then a new finances for the company to get the next bigger missions. And I could really imagine an airline that is Virgin Galactic, that you not only have a pleasure experience, but also have a super fast hypersonic experience to fly from London to New York and be back in London for dinner if you are flying with Virgin Galactic, plus the whole experience of the Virgin Group, which is always unbelievable. It make a success for so many companies out there, like in the Virgin Group, that Richard Branson really know how to design a user experience with his companies. And I believe that we will see Virgin Galactic on a very, very big scale moving forward from here.